As a country, we've always been reactive towards healthcare and not proactive. There's always that little sweet spot between interest and then actually translating that through, right? We looked at the need, we looked at the gap, and then we fit in the solution. Definitely means sometimes 10 minute idhar udhar. Hi everyone, I'm Pooja Arambhan, co-founder and CEO of IIV Health Solutions. I'm also the chairperson of FICCI Flo Mumbai, and I'm so excited to be here for What's Your ETA by Borzo Vcast.
Preventive healthcare is something most people only think about after a problem appears. When did you realize early screening could become a serious scalable business?
That's an interesting question because as a country, we've always been reactive towards healthcare and not proactive. So that has been sort of a shift that I wanted to change from two aspects. The science already existed for peripheral artery disease, but what was the problem was awareness, affordability, and accessibility. So that's when we decided that we needed to get a solution that was able to bridge the patient-doctor gap, was able to reach patients at an affordable price, and sort of help them move and understand the idea of proactivity and the fact that this could sort of, prevent early heart attacks, prevent strokes, improve your quality of life. And that's the idea. That's how IIV Health Solutions came about. Of course, I'd seen it very closely at home with my father being a victim of PAD and having lost half of his right toe. So from both angles, I realized this was a gap that we needed to fill, and that's how IIV was born.
You work closely with governance, policy, and research alongside building IIV. How has that shaped the way you've built this company?
I think the marriage of all three gave it a very important lens. Helped me understand that healthcare innovation doesn't sort of succeed in isolation, right? Many startups sort of build a technology and then look for a system to fit it into. And we did the reverse. We looked at the need, we looked at the gap, and then we fit in the solution into the entire ecosystem. And of course, when it comes to healthcare, there are a lot of moving parts, right? There are clinical pathways, there are regulatory approvals, there's patient adoption. There are all these different things that have to fit into place for you to be able to sort of bring a product to the market. And the three of these really sort of was an important marriage to make IIV happen.
In preventive healthcare, do you think building trust is more important? What have been the toughest moments while scaling IIV?
That's a really good question because I think trust is so important when it comes to healthcare, right? Doctors need reliability, patients need to trust safety, institutions need accountability. So trust is central in all of this. So building a solution that was able to be adopted by all the three stakeholders is something that has been very close to our heart. I think the most important phases was bridging the gap between the prototype and real world adoption, right? Because awareness has been such a huge factor in peripheral artery disease. A lot of people think diabetes was sugar ka bimari hai, usse kuch nahi hoga. And now post COVID, you've seen a lot of people sub 40 suddenly passing away with heart attacks. So that awareness has built over time to realize that now there is a device, there is a solution that helps you early screen, and that is required for any diabetic, any smoker, somebody who's got cholesterol. I think that has moved and changed, and that aspect has been the toughest, but God has been kind. The good work that we've been doing has been out there. We've got a lot of doctors and institutions that speak about the importance of early screening, and that's hopefully building trust.
As a woman in health tech, working closely with MSMEs through FICCI Flo, have you seen any patterns in the challenges women founders face today?
I think women founders face a lot of challenges. Most often you would have heard that there is an issue for women accessing capital, collateral-free loans, sort of sometimes even sexism, ageism, limited access to growth capital, smaller networks of reliability. But in all of this, I've always seen that there is a sense of resilience amongst all of these women. Because despite these little roadblocks that happen on the day-to-day, they're able to move past that and still build irrespective of what size or scale they come from.
In preventive healthcare, it is critical to send reports and documents on time. How important is reliable logistics in your day-to-day operations?
Absolutely important, right? Because we're building steadily towards an impact, and we need to ensure that institutions, doctors, and patients receive their consumables, receive their reports, receive their onboarding documents, receive our devices in time. Because there's always that little sweet spot between interest and then actually sort of translating that through, right? So if we're not able to sort of reach that to our patients, our customers, our consumers in that little sweet spot, we're sort of going to miss the bus. So logistics, absolutely important. So I think the beauty of Borzo VFast has been, especially during COVID time and post that, we realized that we could be a lean startup. We no more employ runner boys at office. Or support staff, because I know I have reliable organizations like Borzo VFast that are help me to deliver all that we need to in time without having to have extra overhead.
If someone had asked you what's your ETA when you first started IIV, what would your answer have been and what is it today, especially after your involvement with FICCI Flo?
In the beginning, I would have definitely said, when you're starting a business, you know where you want to go. The goal is clear. So I would have definitely said, I don't know yet, but I know the direction. And today, when you speak about FICCI Flo and my startup, it's a couple of things. I started my chairpersonship here. I was pregnant. It's my entire term I've been pregnant. I now have a beautiful 6-month-old son. So what's my ETA today has to factor in the baby. And which definitely means sometimes 10 minute idhar udhar. But on the most serious note, so we're building steadily towards impact, and the ETA is not just about the product, but about the ecosystem that we're shaping together.
One myth about preventive healthcare startups.
That prevention doesn't generate revenue, it actually does. Long term, it reduces costs. So I think you have to weigh that and look at the long term benefits and sustainable value.
One leadership habit you swear by.
Consistency in small actions.
One thing women founders are underestimated on.
Strategic resilience.
One thing that's non-negotiable in healthcare operations.
Accuracy and accountability.
One word to describe your journey so far.
Purposeful.
Alright, that brings us to the end of this segment. Thank you so much for doing this with us.
Thank you so much, Borzo VFast, for having me here today. I've had an exceptional time on What's Your ETA. I think these are important dialogues to have. I think this is a great opportunity for women entrepreneurs to bring their stories out there to all of you. Thank you.